world, John.
This came from CSIS, which is our intelligence community here. Be like our CIA. Literally went into Parliament and said there are dozens of known embedded foreign assets and traders working within the Canadian government right now. And when we asked them, oh, could you tell us who that might be? They refused to tell us who it is. So we're sitting there going, okay, so our government is loaded with a bunch of traders and foreign assets that don't have Canadia's interests in mind. We've got statements from people like Klaus Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum, saying how proud he is that he penetrated the cabinets of the Canadian government. And this is Davos, Switzerland, getting into like Knights Templar territory and the whole history, right? So what I'm trying to show you is just there's little hints of this, and the complexity of it is massive. So for me to say, we've really gone right to the end of it and found out who's at the top of the worldwide system, I mean, we've gotten close, but there's no way to know for sure. But I could sum it up in a general sense, and I could say we got a few options, and here they are. You got corrupted human beings that are raised in a particular belief system, similar to how anybody that was raised in a particular religion or even atheism or whatever. These people are raised almost like a breakaway civilization kind of idea, where we're separate from everybody else. Our bloodlines have ruled for this long, and we need to maintain our hegemony, right? That's kind of the vibe. And then you go, okay, well, who are they? Well, they are of their own making. They are a breakaway civilization, a breakaway cult in a way, that basically view themselves as the vicars of the gods. They view themselves as the stand-ins, the rulers, the divine right of kings and whatever. The thing is we're dealing with the world of the occult, meaning the hidden world, the secret world, the underground world. Like in John Wick, when he like passes from the normal streets of Tokyo, goes through a few doors, hands a few gold coins, and now he's in this underground world of criminal, whatever. That's a symbolic rendition of what I'm talking about, that there's the surface world, and then there's the hidden criminal mafia enterprise world. There's how the world we think is run, and then there's the way it really is run. The best I've been able to look at it is looking at it from the perspective of we've got these sort of lost ancient cults that we need to start looking into for the lineage of ideas, of symbols, of the people that are really ruling on the thrones of the earth today. As I said, they don't come from anything in the public square. I like using that term. The public square is we've got all the things that most people know about, all the religions, all the political, we got liberal and Democrat, Republican, this, and we got Jews and Christians and Muslims and Buddhists and atheists. And that's all the average person knows. Yeah, but where did all that stuff come from? Well, I've found, to my amazement, that a lot of those ideas and a lot of those belief systems and traditions were born out of older secret cults, underground movements, secret societies. There's a whole history to that the world needs to catch up on in order to at least get closer to answering the question you've asked. That's my first answer. Layer one will be, it's a human element of a bunch of corrupt psychotics that gained the positions of power, authority, and trust over time. And this is Game of Thrones / Risk, and they are in world domination mode, and that's what we're watching. Option two, you could go with a more religious view, and you could get all spiritual and say, oh, maybe these are people who are possessed by some other dimensional or otherworldly entities that are having their own agenda. And these are sort of like puppets that are working on behalf of something not human, which, as crazy as that might sound, as well as the third option I'm going to give you, it's actually kind of interesting because just look at how anti-human this overall agenda is turning out to be. It's very anti-human. In fact, it's to the point where they're openly proposing humanity be reduced by 95+%. The remaining percent be integrated with technology to a level that will be unrecognizable. So essentially human 2.0, right? And I'm not saying technology or having technological integration is all bad, but like these people I'm talking about are like, yeah, we want to basically create a new Borg-like society. And that is the new human. And the way these types of groups like the Club of Rome and some of these other groups talk about humanity, it's very much spiteful and hateful and you guys are just a bunch of stupid apes or whatever, right? And so you go, wow, it's pretty anti-human, this agenda, right? Especially when you talk about mass genocide and the fomenting of wars and all this kind of stuff. Like, who would do this? And then you get into the stuff you're pointing at, with the underground sex trafficking, the blood cults, the stuff that goes on with children, the grooming of children, the organ harvesting. We don't have to go further than that. So yeah, you could sit there and make a case and say, I'll bet you there's some angels and demons shit going on, and there's some underground stuff, and maybe some interdimensional, I don't know, there's something there. So there's that explanation. And then there's the other explanation, which would just be we're dealing with people that aren't from here. We're dealing with maybe there's a big wide universe out there. Maybe this earth is not necessarily what we thought it was, in the fact that we're not alone, and maybe even our history is not purely only ours. Maybe there's something else that's been coming and going from this planet for a long time. Maybe even the fact that we're here in the guise that we are, standing out like a sore thumb from the rest of nature and operating completely in an anti-natural way on the most part, is an indication that maybe we are essentially a slave-like planet that was genetically engineered or altered at some point, or even psychologically altered to operate as a slave species in a way for something that isn't us. And that's why what we're seeing is essentially a sort of management team that's just coming in to manage the farm in the way a farmer manages his cattle.